In this week's video, a couple of surprising lessons I learned from an introverted direct report of mine on how to get the best outcome from meetings with other people. Hi, I'm Campbell Such. This is Mindbite Thursday, your weekly dose of the human edge in technology. This week I'd like to share with you a couple of insights that I gained that really surprised me from an introverted direct report of mine. We'll call him Paul because, well, that's his name. Successful guy, team lead. So the two things that I learned, the first thing was what happens when you're talking with someone and they need to write something down. And the second thing is what happens when you ask a question and someone needs to work through just what the answer is. So the first thing that Paul taught me was by example is when we'd be in a weekly meeting that we might have or another meeting, and we'd be talking and he'd be telling me some things and I needed to make a note. So I'd start to write it down, and it took me a few times to work this one out, but all of a sudden Paul would have stopped. I'd realised Paul would have stopped talking. And the moment that I finished writing and he could see that I'd finished, he'd start again, he'd just pick up where he left off from. The key benefit of that is that it's really difficult to do two things at once, to think about what you want to write down and to be listening to someone else. And so what tends to happen is you either don't make good notes, or you scrawl, which you can't read when you get back to them, or you miss out on some of the things that are being talked about by the other person. So what Paul taught me and what was proved to be incredibly valuable, which I now practice, is when someone else needs to write something down when you're in a meeting with them, just stop talking. Let them finish and then carry on from where you were. Incredibly powerful and really useful to make sure that you get your point across and that the other person understands it and that they're not only half listening. And the second one is when I would ask Paul a question. Paul's an introvert, and he would always take time to think really carefully about a question. And what I learnt was that the best thing I could do when I asked the question was to shut up, just to stop talking. Now we all know we should be able to do that, but Paul would take his time to think through, and sometimes it would feel like it would have gone on forever. But the amazing thing was, I stopped talking, he processed, and I just let him think, and then he'd come back with the most amazing answers, insights, things that I never would have considered, solutions to problems that were well thought through, that he'd constructed in that time, that I let him think and didn't continue to talk and interrupt his thinking. So a couple of things to consider and to ponder for this week. One is when you're interacting with someone else and they need to write something down, stop talking until they've finished and then carry on, because that'll help you get your message across in the best way possible and be much more likely to be understood and the message communication clarity. And the second one is when you ask someone a question, you can see they need to think about it, or you become aware that they need to think about it, just stop talking. Let them process it. Don't be hurried, don't be rushed, let them think it through and then let them come back. And when they do, you might be surprised at the power of the answer in the question. So thanks to Paul for those insights. I hope it's something that you can consider, ponder, maybe use in your interactions with other people, and not just with introverts. The same applies to anyone when they need to think about something, or when you need to write something down, or they need to write something down. If you'd like more like this, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, subscribe to the Integration Catalyst YouTube channel. There's a whole library of videos like this up there, categorized into all sorts of playlists around human skills and how you can better grow your career at a higher rate. Definitely worth subscribing and picking up all the new ones that come through and looking back through the old catalogue. And the second one is I have a bonus gift, a special report called How to Communicate with Power and Influence. It's a complimentary copy, free for you, 16 pages that will help you wherever you are in your journey, whether you're just starting out on your career or whether you've moved on and you're really getting some success that could really help take your communication to the next level. And feel free to share that with anyone else that you think might get some value for it. So that's Campbell Such. Mindbite Thursday for this week. Over and out. See ya.